Baby, listen. Let's have this conversation. It's really quiet in the shop today. It's raining outside. But let's talk about something. God wants us to know, first of all, if you are a parent, aspire to be a parent, or even you feel like you've been hurt by a parent, you should tune into this message. Because the truth of the matter is, God wants us to know we're so attached to this physical world. We're so attached to the physical things that we still equate blessings with money and houses and cars. And the biggest blessings that God has ever given to you, we continue to fumble them. And so God is saying that the biggest blessing that I ever gave you was you first. I gave you life. That life is yours. I want you to treasure it. But after I gave you that life, the next best gift that I've ever given to you was the life of your child. And if I get emotional in this conversation, it hit home, okay? So hear me, because these are things in uncomfortable conversations that we don't typically have. And because we don't have these conversations, no one's being saved. We're repeating the same cycles and we have the same generational curses. Generation after generation after generation after generation, because no one wants to be brave enough to talk about these things because we live in fear. And so God is saying you're fumbling your greatest blessings, which is your children. You fumble yourself because you don't know how to love yourself and you don't treasure who you are as a person because you don't know who you are. But before that, your parents fumble you. There's a repetitious cycle. See, in the beginning in Genesis, when there was enmity put between, when the serpent fooled Eve, and then the serpent was cursed, Eve was cursed, and so was the man. If you go back and read in Genesis, it says the serpent was cursed and that there would be enmity between the serpent and the woman. And what we don't understand is, everybody likes to talk about the Jezebel spirit. Let's talk about it. Everybody likes to talk about that Jezebel spirit, but what we fail to realize is there's a Lucifer spirit. And instead of calling that demon out, we give it a nickname. It's almost like, when you're mad at your child, you'll call when they're in good standing with you, call them their nickname because it's funny. But then when you're mad at them, you call their whole name out. We got to start calling that whole name out. We like to call people narcissists, but they have Lucifer spirit. See, Lucifer is not just one person. See, Lucifer, we have to understand that spirits, you either a spirit of God or you're a spirit of hate. You're the spirit of darkness or you're spirit of the light. There's no in between. But because we keep riding this fence and we don't understand and we're calling it nicknames and he just a narc. That's just how he is. Nah, baby, call out that spirit. Because those spirits are snatching our children. Those spirits are snatching our souls. Those spirits are causing our children to die. We're killing our own kids. God is saying, protect. See, we'll protect our assets. You'll protect that home. You'll protect that car. You'll protect that money. But you don't protect your children. That's your greatest asset. Do you understand that soul that God gave you to protect and to nurture and to train? God says, listen, the reason everybody is so caught up in this physical world that we're missing the message. We're missing the reason why we're here. We're missing. It's like the message is like literally going over our heads, and we're not understanding that we're not training our children. We're raising them. And because we're not training them in love. See, listen, we are putting people, we're connecting. The enemy has it out for the woman. Why? Because she gives birth. So most of us are in the beds being tricked. We are tricked into the bedroom, having children now. Come on now. And the enemy knows if he plants that seed in you, See, we always want to go focus on the person. Sometimes a person doesn't even really know that the spirit is using that body because they're in such a delusion and they are so money hungry and they're so greedy. See, most of us don't even understand, but the women are being tricked because Lucifer's spirit, that spirit of Lucifer, narcissist, whatever you want to say, they thrive off a weak woman. And see, weak women, and this is no knock. Like, when I say weak, I mean, you may be strong and you may be that single mom and you may be the person who carries all the bags and all, but I mean spiritually weak. See, we have to start looking at things spiritually. Yes, you may be strong in the physical world. I used to be strong in the physical world, but my spirit was weak. That's why I said Eve was weak, because listen, Eve was weak because of the curse. So because of everything that happens in our life, we don't understand that it's a spiritual connection to that. And what we're doing is we're inviting these Lucifer spirits into our homes and our bodies. They are planting seeds in our gardens. And if that seed is not of love, that seed is of hate. So now that has been deposited into your spirit. Now you have watered it and now it's grown into a child. And then we're not protecting that child from that spirit. See, that child comes into this earth. Come on now, don't lose me. And that spirit of hate that hates you, fight against you. Baby, listen, it fights against you. So now you already got a child that came into this world with a shaky, crumbly foundation. That foundation is not solid because it wasn't built on love. There's no such thing as a foundation without love. If it's not built on love, it can't be trusted. See, so God says, trust no man. But moms, what we do, especially as single moms, because we're in a weak state of mind and we want some help and we want somebody to help us with that child and we don't want that man to leave because we don't want to be a single mom. We stay in this weak mind frame and that enemy attacks you, but because he wants your seed. The Bible says it. The enemy wants your seed. Hence why we had to understand that we can't continue to sleep with our enemy. And then if you already have and you have children against, listen, that enemy comes to steal, kill, and destroy. We are so trusting of men because we want, a lot of us, and I say us because I have too been in situations where you don't want to give up that relationship because you don't want to give up that house. You don't want to give up that relationship because you don't want to give up the help. But it's costing your child's soul because they're being damaged in the process. And even things you can't see, the words that are being spoken to them, the things that are happening. And a lot of women, listen, this is a very uncomfortable conversation. Let's talk about it. There are grown adults, my age and older, that have been molested by their own fathers, by their own mother's boyfriends, male and female, that won't talk about it. They're too afraid. See, everything derives from a why. Let's talk about it. Because see, God walks me through these lessons, and everybody want to know where you get this information from the mouth of God. Because God walks with me because God will reveal the truth in his timing. See, there's a time and place for everything. Sometimes you don't need to know everything at once because God won't put too much on you that you can't bear. So God allowed me to walk through this valley. God allowed me to walk through these situations. God allowed me to walk through these lessons so that we get to the truth. Because in order to worship God, you got to worship him in the spirit and truth. And a lot of people are not living in their truth because they're living a lie. And what we don't understand is, listen, there are some people among you within your home that are your enemy, within your family that are your enemy, and they came to steal, kill, and destroy that seed. See, people always talk about, and this is the thing, because God will reveal the truth, and he has told me everything from the beginning to the end because your story has already been written. I talk a lot about my sister intentionally, on purpose, because people see the end result. Children are born innocent. This is why parents, pay attention, listen up. Children are born innocent. It's what you plant inside of them, and water is what grows. So everybody, my sister died at 35, and everybody, they tried to call her crazy. They did call her crazy. They tried to talk about her mental health, and she was promiscuous. She did this, she did that. But why? Let's talk about it. Why? You got to get to the root of the problem. You got to get to the root, because if you understand the root, there's always a why. And God is saying, we like to deal with things when it's right here, and we like to dress them up, and we like to, again, we like to protect things that we can see. But when you don't see that spirit, that soul that's dying, we're not protecting our children. And most of us mothers, and I am included, we are with these men that have Lucifer spirits attached to them. See, the spirits get in the body, and especially sexually. See, there are people that have been molested, and that cycle continues. The molester has been molested. The cycle continues. So there are people with that spirit deposited into them, and they don't understand why they do. If you ever talk to somebody who molests somebody, they don't know why they do it. It's a spirit. It has been deposited into them. They may not even want to do it. A lot of the things, have you ever done things that you really don't want to do? You've done something and you're like, man, I really don't know why I do it. It's all the same. See, that's why God said no sin is greater than the other, because we don't understand where sin derives from, and we don't understand it. It's a spiritual thing. And it's a connection that must be disconnected, because it's killing our generation of kids. God said, I gave this gift to you, and you keep fumbling it. Because now they don't have to go out. You don't have to go out and find your enemy. It's right there in your home. It's right there being the stepmama, the stepdaddy, the boyfriend, the girlfriend. They're touching your children. Not only are they touching your children physically, but emotionally and spiritually damaging them. And so there's grown-ups living in kids' bodies because somebody has touched them. And then instead of saying anything, they think that that's right. Or I don't even think that they think it's right. It's a distorted image of pleasure that has become sick because it's twisted. It's a demonic spirit. And then they touch your child. And then your child touches another child. And the cycle keeps repeating and repeating and repeating and repeating and repeating. Let's talk about it. Because people don't like to talk about why. I never understood, just growing up, story time. I felt outcasted a lot. See, because God knows your purpose. And you don't have to try. And that's the thing about us. We be trying to understand our purpose, and one purpose greater than another. It's not that anybody's purpose is greater than the other. God will use you to go through things and go through experiences so he can use you to deliver his people, to deliver your people. If you're obedient, just like Noah. Noah delivered everybody. He saved the future. We go through things. And so I used to feel so rejected. I used to feel ostracized. I used to feel like I wasn't good enough. So then it made me chase love, and it made me chase people. I was never anybody's favorite. I wasn't my favorite in the house. I wasn't my favorite in my extended family. I was never the favorite, and it made me feel unwanted. It made me feel unloved. So I searched for love everywhere else. And so as I've gotten older and I've gone through this season of separation, because we don't understand why God separates us, we complain about it. We cry about it. Oh, God, why are you separating me? God separates you for a reason, because he knows what he's going to use of you or for you. He has a plan for you. You may not understand Jeremiah 29:11, but God does. So I felt so ostracized. And I never felt like I was the favorite. And everybody always catered to my sister. And everybody always gave things to her. But God had to reveal to me, and I may get a little emotional, just bear with me, that rejection of me was protection for me. So the things that were happening didn't happen to me, so that I can expose those things later. See, God will expose things in his time. And it may not make sense to you, but the very people that favored my sister, the very people that loved on her, the very people that put her on this pedestal and act like she was their favorite, were the same people that were penetrating her with these seeds, enabling her, hurting her with words, actions. And so we always like to look at the girl and say, oh, she's promiscuous, but why? Oh, she's on the girl. Listen, the girl's on drugs, but why? Who gave them to her? Who introduced her to that? Who planted that seed? Who touched her? And you don't have to go far, because 9 times out of 10, God wants you to know it's right in your own home. It's right in your own garden. It's right in your own yard. If we understood what God was telling us in Genesis from the very beginning, and this is why he had to move the garden. He let that garden stay there and eat it, and he built them a new one to start over because, baby, listen, them snakes are in your own grass, and they're not far. And most of us want to look so far into friendships and people that we don't know that's hating on us. Baby, listen, it's right there in your family. It's right there. But we're too blinded by illusions, and we're too weak in the spirit. And our flesh is a desire that we continue to feed, and we're starving our children and their children and their children's children because we too hungry for flesh, sex, let's call it. So we stay. And not only just that, because some relationships we stay in is because we don't want to leave that house. Guilty. We don't want to leave that stability. Guilty. There is no stability in a foundation that is not solid with love, and we are killing our children all for things. And then we say, oh, for love of money is the root of all evil. If you love that house more, if you love those situations, you don't think that you love them more, but you idolize them. We idolize men. God said, trust no man. That man that you're idolizing, hurting your children, sleeping with little girls, sleeping with little boys. Because that Lucifer spirit that was planted inside of them, because 9 times out of 10, they got touched. That Lucifer spirit that was planted inside of them, and they weren't able to ever tell their parents. They would be disowned. They couldn't tell their parents. Some people still to this day have never told their parents that they've been touched. And they're living with that pain, and they're out here sick. They're taking every pill. They're on drugs. They're covering up sex addictions. Mostly sex addictions. They have these sex addictions and they don't know why. But that spirit was planted in them. And they're killing your seed. They're killing your seed with their words. They're killing their seed with their action. And most of them, what we call narcissists, the Lucifer spirit, let's call that thing out, derives from a place of hiding. In the beginning when God says, Noah was like, I'm hiding. We were back here hiding because we're naked. Most people hide. They cover up who they truly are. So because they're in hiding, they try to make everybody else feel crazy. See, that narc, he feeds off that mother's, he, whatever gender you want to do, energy. Off of that mother or father or whatever, whoever is the narcissist, their energy. And they feed off that energy. And when she cuts that source off, they got to go to the kid. Narcissists, they have this way of, they don't understand this because they were sent to this earth. We all have a purpose. They were sent to kill and destroy. See, demons have to be casted out. When it's planted in you and it grows and it waters, listen, those things have to be watered out or you wither and die. And so while everybody wants to talk about the end result and the product, we have to take those roads and those uncomfortable conversations that get us leading to these conversations that let you know, baby, listen, it's a spiritual fight. We wrestle not against flesh and blood. Why do you think God says that? Flesh and blood. And we go around calling our families flesh and blood. We don't wrestle against them. We wrestle against the spirit within them. And you only know a spirit if you understand spirit. And most of us are sitting at the tables with our molesters. We're sitting at the tables with our offenders. We're sitting in places and we don't understand that the innocence of children is being stolen. And this ain't just about touching, because words do hurt. That spirit of negativity, that spirit of judgment, that spirit of control, that spirit of, we have this way that we want to be really, really hard on our kids, and we plant these seeds of not good enough. Like you let your child know that they're not good enough because, okay, if they bring their report card to you and they got some A's but not all A's and they got B's and maybe one C, you better get all A's. Why? They did. If that child did their best, see, everybody is not going to get the same grade. If we were designed to be the same, then we would all, if it were that easy, everybody would do it. If it were that easy to be rich, everybody would do it. If it was that easy to get all A's, every child would do it. Every child is not built the same. God said, that's a gift I gave to you, and you're destroying it with your mouth. You're destroying it by putting too much pressure on them. You're destroying it. And God gave me a list of things to do as a parent, and he taught me, and these are not just things I'm talking about. I'm talking about I walk that talk. I'm talking about I got to go through these things, because when God trusts you with a gift, when God trusts you with the truth, you must set your people free. And so I've been revealed the truth about what really happened to my sister. And everybody wanted to shut me up. And see, that's what happens. Everybody want to call you crazy. They want to shut you up. They want to put you in the dark. They want to keep you in that darkness so you don't know and you don't expose them. But if you don't expose Lucifer, Lucifer is going to kill everybody in your generation. Slow deaths. See, this life ain't what we think it is. And we think this ain't that serious. And oh, she always talking so deep. I used to always get told that when I was a kid. Oh, you talking so... See, the family... They prey on the weak child, the child that's enticed by money, the child that's enticed by good things and fun things, because they're sweet and innocent. That one that talk too much, they push you away. So I didn't understand that I was being pushed away because I saw things. God talked to me, but then they told me I was crazy. They'll deem you crazy so you don't expose their crazy. You talk too much. Shut up. Then they pushed it, enmity, division in between me and my sister, in between siblings. That's what they do. I'll divide y'all. So if I divide y'all, then y'all won't know what's going on, and you won't tell her what I've done to you. You won't say what is going on, because if I divide y'all, I'll keep y'all apart. This one talked too much. That girl, she talked too much. That child talked too much. So it's always that one that's quiet. It's always that one that they deem weak, that the enemy preys on. See, that's when God says, when you are weak, I am strong. See, we are so weak in the spirit. We just want tangible things. We want somebody there. We don't want to be lonely. We want to have a man. We want to have a woman. But in the process of us having this relationship is not only killing you, it's killing your children. It's killing your seeds. That seed has been planted in you. And then people tell you can get all religious and go to church. Oh, don't, stay with that daddy. Stay with that mama. Stay in that relationship. Stay in that toxicity. It was the curse. So God is saying, I need y'all to wake up, and I need you to pay attention, and I need you to understand that you're fumbling your greatest blessings. I need you to understand that rejection was your protection. I need you to understand that what's done in the dark will come to light. And Jesus, baby, listen, he is the justice. And justice will be served. That's not a threat. That's not a warning. It's a promise. Justice will be served. See, because what we think is we're hiding. Again, Adam thought he was hiding. God said, I see you. I knew that you ate the fruit. I saw you when you ate the fruit. I saw you when you did that. I saw you when you touched that child. I saw that person when they touched you. I saw that thing. I saw it all. I see everything. Nothing goes unseen. Just because you can't see it don't mean that it wasn't seen. Just because you didn't see the justice doesn't mean it's not being done. Just because you don't talk about it and it's eating you up and it's guilty and you're trying to hide that thing. And God says, time's up. You've played with my children way too long. You've hurt Kingdom's kids way too long. But mom and dad, listen, I need you to open up your eyes, and I need you to stand up, and I need you to protect your children. And I need you to stop being so weak for that man or that woman or that situation because you don't want to be lonely. And you better lean on me. Because we stay in these situations, in these predicaments, because we don't want to be alone. We don't want to be afraid. We don't want to be ashamed. We don't want to be ridiculed. Oh, that didn't work. Nope, show didn't. Try again. That relationship didn't work. Try again. But God said, before you try again, don't do it without me. Because we are in these relationships. And if you would have asked me in the first place, I would have told you that wasn't the right way to go. But you wanted to go that way. And I allowed you to because you have free will. I can't make you do it. I could, but you wanted to. This is what you wanted. It's like you rubbed that genie and you made a wish and it came true and here you are. but we're killing our kids. And God is not pleased. And he's saying you're not training these children in the way they should go. You're actually derailing them, which is why these trains, God said, can you see? Y'all think that I'm going to crack this sky and I'm coming back to save all these earth. Baby, listen, I have never left you. I've never forsaken you. God is here. God is not pleased. He is showing you signs each and every day to get your house in order. See, the problem with most people, especially Christians, y'all want to get somebody else's house in order. I'm allowed to talk about it. I got clearance, permission. Why? Because I had to get mine in order first, sis. I had to get mine in order first, bro. God made me sit on these lessons for years because I too was in a relationship that was killing my seeds, damaging. All because that Lucifer spirit wants to attack you, it wants to kill you. And then if it can't kill you, it'll kill your children, and it'll do it in the name of love. People will molest your child in the name of love. Fathers will sleep with their own daughters in the name of love. They'll sleep with somebody else's daughter. See, if a man will sleep with somebody else's daughter, that's a baby, he'll do the same to yours. Y'all got to start checking these. You know, the best thing that God told me was, you be giving yourself to people that's unqualified. And they make you feel like you're unqualified because you ain't got no money. Y'all think money is everything. That's the problem. We think that money is everything. You think because you don't have all these degrees and you don't have all these houses, baby, what's inside of you is gold. But what's inside of them? Because see, money is the root of all. We focus on these things. Some people really do love money. They love their house more than they love you. They love them cars more than they love you. They will, listen, they will do anything not to look bad on the outside. Lie, kill, steal, destroy. Does that sound like Lucifer to you? Y'all better start calling out these spirits. You better start casting them out of your own home. Cast them out of your own body. We need to start having real conversations and stop being weak. Preying on the weak. We have to protect these children. If our spirits are weak, how are we gonna protect them? How are we gonna protect them? If we're too afraid to talk to that narc, that Lucifer, we're too afraid to speak up and say what it is. See, I was that way too for a little while, you know, being quiet about certain things because, you talk too much. So I started trying to not talk too much and stay in a woman's place. Nah, the woman's place is the power. Read Proverbs. Hence why this world wants you to think it's a man's world. Nah, it's both of our world. And only the way we can create it is together, not apart, not friction. But you got to understand, baby, listen, this is God's world. And if you don't have God's spirit, you will be destroyed from the inside out. So we got to go back to these roots. If you didn't watch that video about them shady trees, we got to go back to the roots. Because the very people that shunned me, the very people that acted like, but they gave her money. Oh, man. Oh, her favorite. Give her money all the time. The same person that was depositing money into her account was the same person that kept on killing her spirit with depositing negative energy, negative toxicness, talking to her crazy. You see, we don't understand. They want to call you, and it's so crazy because I used to get cracked on for that. Oh, you're so weak. You're just so emotional. You're so this, you're so that. I have feelings. We're humans. We have feelings. And most of us, a lot of us were built to be that way. When you have God's love, you just have it. And that gets attacked. It's like, you're not allowed to cry. You're not allowed to, you're not allowed to feel. And they'll make you feel like you got to be so hard. God said hard and not your heart. This is why you can't hear me. Y'all can't hear my voice because somebody has locked that door and they threw away the key. The same people. I used to think, oh my God, they gave her all these nice gifts. They do all this. But the same people destroyed her. The same people gave her drugs. The same people killed her. The same people touched her. The same people hurt her. And God says, listen, none of that goes unseen. And justice will be served. See, just because you don't know what happened in a person's life and you see the end result and you say, oh, that person did this, baby, there's always a why. And they want you to shut up. People want you to shut up. Because the enemy knows one thing about your tongue. It's the most powerful thing you employ. See, people can live without arms. People can live without legs successfully. People can live without all those things. Can't live without your rib and your tongue. You need your tongue to speak. You need your ribs, your heart and stuff to survive. There's vital organs inside of you, and this is one of them. We don't get taught that. I know how to give you a visual, don't judge me, but I get into it because this is real, you know, and people don't see the seriousness of it until it's too serious. It's like, you know, the things I used to say to people, they used to try to like blow me off, and then later on it's like, oh, well, how'd you know that? God told me. Like, I already know. And so people will shun you, they will dismiss you, they will avoid you, they will hide from you because they know that they did you wrong. So it's written. When Adam and Eve knew that they were not supposed to be doing what they did in the garden, they went and hid and put the leaves on and they covered up. The people that are hiding from you, the situations that are hiding, they know you know. I see you. God be like, I see you. And when you got God's spirit, you see them for who they are. And I was under illusions my whole life, trying to get these people to like me, trying to get them to love me. God said that was a plan. They would have destroyed the seed within you. And just because you put yourself in situations and that, but you don't get told, I almost died. People don't know this. Like, I literally almost died. I was underwater. Me and my children almost died. Physically, spiritually, and emotionally. And then my sister died. And we don't understand what love is, and we don't understand what sacrifice is, and we don't understand what is written. We don't understand spirituality because we're too trying to make physical connections that don't really connect. We have to understand that the source, we're plugged into the source, and God knows. So my sister's death gave me life. And we don't understand that spirits don't die, people do. And until that soul gets justice, they hang around and they're gonna help you find it. They will hang around and they will help you find it. And I know that's too deep for some of y'all because y'all don't understand. So if you're listening and God has gifted you with children or a child, God is warning you, protect that child. Protect that seed. Protect that investment. Stop caring about your bank account more than you care about your children. Stop caring. And you don't think it's that way, but the way you guard your money, if somebody take $1 out of there or a couple of dollars out of there on accident, you on that bank phone call, you can speak then. But then when you see that injustice in your home, and you see that child being teared down in your home, or you see that child is being molested, or you see something that don't look right, but you turn a blind eye, you turn the other way, you turn the other cheek. We got to start in the home. I can say that about somebody walking down the street, but we're not going to help the person down the street that needs help if we're not going to help our own children. God is saying, baby, listen. If you're that person who's been molested, you must break that cycle and get healing. You must cast that demon out that has tried to destroy you and your family for generations. It can't be done. This is not judgment. This is justice. Justice. See, we could only look at the judicial system, and we look at the judicial system and we understand that they got this 3 strikes you out policy. We understand that you go to court, you got to pay all of this money to get a judge to fight for you. And God says, listen, my attorneys are free. I'm never going to courtroom again. Send me to court. My angel's going to fight for me. Jesus fight better. Copy that. Roger that. There is a spiritual realm that most of us are not tapped into. And you have to tap into it in order to fulfill your destiny and to save your children, because their lives are on the line. There are more children committing suicide now more than ever before because they are living in their truth and everybody else around them is living in a lie. And they're conflicted and confused by the enemy. They're being hurt from a place they can't even talk about because they're not allowed to. They're being damaged by the very people God entrusted to raise them and protect them and train them up. We are killing our children. And some of us die prematurely. Some people literally die prematurely. And God is saying, I'm trying to save your seeds from being aborted on the mission that I have given to them. Because listen, you got to go with plan A, God's plan. Because when you go take a plan B, you know, it's just like the pill. You go take a plan B, it aborts the mission. If you continue to keep taking plan B, you abort that mission. You killing that seed. You're killing your destiny. You're killing their destiny. You're killing the future. What Whitney Houston say? I believe the children are the future. Teach them well and let them lead the way. God is saying we are not teaching our children. We're making them suffer in classrooms and schools and giving them all this systematic pressure to make more money, but they are going to lose their soul in the process. And we're not teaching them love, and we're not teaching them integrity, and we're not teaching them wholesomeness because we're not home. Jesus, he loves kids. He loves the children. But we won't listen to our kids. Because we think because they're just kids, they don't know anything, but they know. See, the Bible says a child will lead the way. But we're too stubborn. We're too busy trying to stay in that relationship. We're too busy trying to stay there for comfort. And God has said, they're dying. And you will pay the cost for disobedience. I'll never forget. And I know a lot of people know this story, and I really haven't told it on YouTube, but it's like my son packed 3 bags. And he was like, you can do him, you can stay here, but I'm not. I'm done with it. And I said, why are you leaving? He said, God told me to leave. And I was just like, God did not tell you to leave. You know, God did not tell you to leave. Yes, he did. You know, he didn't believe in God back then. But indeed, God did tell him to leave, and he left. And I sat on the steps for an hour, and God said, look what you made me do. There is somebody watching this that God has told you to leave. Leave it all. God has told you to walk away. There is somebody watching this that knows in your soul you are in the wrong place with the wrong people. And it's going to cost you. And I understand the hardest thing I ever had to do was walk away. And everybody on the outside was looking at that, and I got judged, and I got ridiculed, and I got talked about, and I got crucified. And I got lied on. But people don't know what goes on in the house. But you and them. And when they know the truth, they'll tell a lie to protect it. They'll tell a lie to protect it. And God just wants you to know there's an exit. God is saying, somebody watching this, and I know that it's going to reach people that it needs to. Protect your seed from that Jezebel and Lucifer spirit, because those spirits that get deposited into our children. People don't just die. People don't just kill themselves for no reason. People don't just overdose for no reason. People aren't just sex addicts for no reason. People are not just promiscuous for no reason. People are not just on drugs for no reason. There's a reason. And we're not getting to the root of the issue. We're not talking about it because it's uncomfortable and it offends people. But the spirit of offense is a Lucifer spirit. It's not a fruitful spirit. And God is saying, I am trying to get your trees to grow, but you're killing the tree. You're killing the seed based on the people you have around your children. All because they're family. Or that's the stepfather or the stepmother or the daddy in some instances. That dad is killing the seed. It's a curse. And you don't even know it. So people always get mad when they have a child with somebody and then the dad is not involved. That separation was your protection. That separation was your child's protection. Everybody don't deserve to be in your child's life. That seed and that birth was supposed to be a lesson to you, for you to learn from that child, because that child had a message for you. We missed the message because we focus on the messenger. Children are human messages. And then we destroy their innocence by allowing people to come into their life and rape them, steal their gift, demean them, degrade them, and hurt them. And God says, no, it's over. Stop. Turn from your wicked ways so that he can heal your land.